What's up, my fellow rent-to-retirees? My name is Eric Winkler, here to give you some information on inspections today. Before we get into all of that, first of all, I want to take a moment and congratulate each and every one of you for spending some time here today. You know, I do talk to a lot of individuals on a daily and weekly basis. And a lot of them want to be real estate investors and they talk about being real estate investors, but when you get right down to it and there's an investment of time and or money, you know, it does become a lot less interesting to a lot of individuals. So I truly want to commend you and congratulate you on taking a step towards your financial independence. Now, having said that, I also want to thank you for taking time on your education today. I know that time is the most valuable asset that we have, so I'm going to get right into it in just a moment and give you some value today. Just so you understand a little bit about who I am, my name is Eric Winkler. I've been working with entrepreneurs for the last 20 plus years. It wasn't always real estate. I've been working with real estate investors for the last 12 years, but prior to that, I worked with entrepreneurs trying to start businesses. So I worked with entrepreneurs to help them set up their companies, find funding for their organizations, and really set them up. About 12 years ago, I transitioned to mainly just real estate investors. Why? Well, part of it was the networking that I was in and who I was working with, but then I really find a true passion for it. Here was my aha moment, if you will. For me, it was really down to it was me. I was taking a look at what would it take for me to retire? And I started looking at the numbers and how much money and how many zeros there would have to be in my account for me to actually retire. And that was depressing. Once I figured out that there was another way around it, and you know, my mentor showed me and many people along the way that, you know, passive income is really a way around that. And I bring this to your attention because not only do I work with investors, but I'm working on the same plan as you. I want my passive income to surpass my active income, not necessarily so I can just stop working. I'll probably never stop working, but I have the option to. And to me, that's what retirement really is. If I'm working, it's because I chose to rather than I have to. So that's a little bit about me. I know you know about rent to retirement. A lot of you probably watching this are working with us currently. To anybody who's not working with us, we are a turnkey company, and turnkey to us means that the properties that we're selling to our investors are fully renovated, leased, and have a property manager in place. So it allows you to go about your daily life. If you're a high W-2 income earner, or you're a business owner, or maybe you just don't want to be totally actively involved in real estate investing, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't mean that you can't take advantage of it. So we're here to help all folks from all kinds of walks of life, all kinds of experience levels. I get that question all the time. What is our typical customer? I don't know, because they're everyone. Anyone who wants to get involved with real estate investing, but doesn't want to spend a lot of time and money and the risk of finding other markets outside of their own, traveling around to do that, and then building up their own teams from the ground up. You know, we're here to work with you. So now let's get into it. Inspections. So as far as, you know, where does this come in the process? When you're working with rent to retirement, you've already done your introduction calls, you've gone through your pre-approvals, you have met with your investment advisor, you've talked about strategy at this point, you've been on the priority list, so you've been looking at properties, and you've put an offer in on a property. That means you signed a purchase agreement. And now one of the first things that you're gonna do, once the rehab has been completed and the local team has given us the green light, one of the first things that you can do is order an inspection. Why did I say can? Well, because you don't have to order an inspection. Let's just start right there. The inspection is not mandatory. The appraisal is mandatory. The appraisal is mandatory because if you're using financing. So if you're using financing, the lender is going to require an appraisal to protect both you and the bank's investment to make sure that everything is copacetic with market values, the condition of the property. So the appraisal in and of itself is an inspection. It's a very thorough inspection, by the way. So when you look through an appraisal report, it is an inspection. So why do I need another inspection? That's entirely up to you, first of all. Most investors do an inspection, absolutely. So when you get into an inspection, there's a couple of things that I want to do. So a lot of this is just going to be a mindset shift, setting expectations, and redefining, you know, what is an inspection. So let's just get right into it. First of all, let's define inspection. With an inspection, what are we really talking about? Well, what does the word inspection mean to you? Anybody here have a military background? Even if you don't have a military background, I can tell you that when you heard the word inspection, it was not a joyous occasion. Nobody said, yay, we're having an inspection today. It just doesn't work like that. Whether it was a uniform inspection, a barracks inspection, it doesn't make a difference. Because all we know is that whoever's coming in to do the inspection is just gonna nitpick everything and find a reason to punish us. That's how it works, so not very positive. Now, that's not to say that inspections are negative. That's not what I'm trying to set the table with, but I am telling you that an inspection is designed to find flaws. If you go into it knowing that, then you already know that it's going to find flaws. Let's do another example that maybe everybody can relate to. If you've ever bought a used car before, you have heard at least that you should get an inspection from a qualified licensed mechanic. Well, when you bring your car into that mechanic, are they going to charge you for it? Yes, unless it's like your Uncle Eddie or something like that, they are going to charge you for the inspection. So if you paid money for that inspection, are you hoping that there's nothing wrong? I mean, you're hoping nothing wrong, but if they came back and said, I didn't find anything wrong, and I paid money for that, I'd be a little upset. I'd be like, come on, man, you went through that entire car. It's got, it's been on the road. You can't find anything wrong, low oil level, low tire pressure, I mean something, they're gonna find something. And does that mean, so you found a low oil level and you found low tire pressure, so yeah, don't buy that car? It's no. No, it means let's adjust those things, let's put some oil in it, let's adjust the tire pressure, and this is a good deal. It's the same thing with a property. So when you're looking at a property inspection, especially if you've never seen them before, I mean, folks, they can be daunting. And I remember the first couple of times I looked at inspection reports, I was like, whoa, you get a 100-page report or a 30 or a 50-page report. I mean, your initial instinct is like, yikes, what's up with this place? And when you really start diving into it, nothing. I mean, really nothing. Or they'll do like these big headline alerts when you open up the page and you've got like 15 recommendations and 2 safety and 3 immediates. What does all that mean? Well, I mean, just listen to the words. I mean, recommendation means I recommend that you take a look at this. So a recommendation can be something like the door in the bathroom is not latching properly, or, something along those lines. Easy fix, simple stuff. Or safety violations. That sounds really bad, right? It just depends. I mean, we've got to use all this stuff in context. Basically, I can tell you that if you have a property that has a gas furnace, if it doesn't have a carbon monoxide detector, that's a safety issue. Okay, so don't buy that house, right? No, it means get a carbon monoxide detector. That's what it means. So it's pointing out these things so that we can make these safe, valuable investments. We're good as the investor, and we're taking care of our tenants as well. So the inspection process is something that we go through. It's to protect you, the investor, and protect us as well. So that way there, you know exactly what you're getting. So how does the process work? Well, you're going to order the inspection. The inspector's going to go through the property. You're going to receive the inspection report. And at that point, I invite you to take a look at it. But remember, the reason why you chose to work with a company like Rent to Retirement is so that you're not doing these things on your own. In most cases, what folks would do is they order the inspection report and they're combing through this, and it's just a lot of flash. There's a lot of flash and arrows towards things, and it gets daunting, and it can be kind of, I guess the word is scary for new investors. Like, oh my gosh, there's so many things wrong with this house. Not really. I mean, there's not a lot of things wrong with the house. There are certain things that may need to be addressed in the house, but that's part of the renovation process. I mean, that's what we're getting into. We all know we're buying properties from 1900, 1920, 1950, 1960. Bottom line is, if it's not a 2021 house, then there's probably something that needs to be addressed. And understand that part of working with Rent to Retirement is that we are going to address these things. So we're going to be working with a local team. We're going to be working with you to make sure that these items get taken care of. Number one thing that I look for, I go right for the big things. So I look for HVAC, foundation, and I'm looking for roof. Those are the big ones. Those are the ones that can, hurt you with capital expenditure. The other items, I already know that the local teams that I work with, they're going to be taking care of the majority of those right up front. So if you see something like a loose light switch cover, or, number one thing I see all the time, the toilet's loose. Yeah, those things get corrected, all right? And then what we need to do is we need to go through this. We need to find the top 3 or 4 things that are like, this is important. I need this fixed. So we're going to come up with a list. We're going to present it to the local team, and they're going to tell us what we can and cannot do based on, time frames, cost, etc. So we're going to work through this process together. The bottom line here is what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to educate you as a real estate investor, because regardless if you're working with turnkey properties, or you're working with a personal residence, or if you're an active investor and you're working with rehabs, wholesales, etc., inspection being part of the process, this is something that you're going to have to learn how to deal with. Not all inspections mean that it's not a good deal. It means that we just need to have a conversation about what's in that inspection report. Think of something that's wrong with your house right now that probably nobody else knows. And you only know it because you live in that house. But to the naked eye, if you invited me over your house and I looked around and everything looks perfect, but you know that one little thing that's off. Maybe that door doesn't quite shut, or the shower door is a little squeaky, or there's water stains on the glass. Something along those lines. All of that stuff comes up in an inspection, folks. All of it. So anything that's remotely wrong with the property is going to go into the inspection report. The reason why I stress this with you is because it's usually the first point of panic with a novice investor. So when you see this inspection report, there's no need to panic. It's informational. What we need to do is we need to use this information to the best of our ability to make sure that we're getting a quality investment. That's what our team is here to do. We're here to work with you. So when you receive the inspection report, if you're working with myself or another member of our team, basically it's time to get in touch with them, unless you already know what to do. The bottom line is you go through the inspection report and we come up with a list of must-haves. You already know our rehab standard here at Rent to Retirement is we want to have roof, HVAC, foundation have 8 to 10 years life left in them. Otherwise, we're addressing these things. Those are our rehab standards. There are some cases where something can't be done because of time frames, limitations, budgets, etc. But again, that's a point of negotiation. What I mean by that is we are real estate investors. We're not shopping for our personal residence at this point. What we're actually trying to do is find the right investment for our portfolio. So we're going to help you identify that as well. So what does that mean? Let's just say, for an example, there was an item that just could not be addressed due to budget, time constraints, or something along those lines. Well, then we work with the local team to determine what that is and figure out what the counteroffer is going to be. This could be a reduction in price. It could be something in lieu of something. It's a negotiation, folks. That's why it's called real estate investing, not home purchasing or property purchasing. There's a little bit more to it. My job in Rent to Retirement, what we want to do is train you to be great real estate investors. So as you're looking at inspection reports, you know what negotiation tactics you have, you know what you can do, and you can get some experience with some aid. So you're getting some guidance and mentorship on how to become a better investor as well. The point I'm trying to make, guys, is first of all, you hired an inspector to find things wrong with your property. They're going to find things wrong with your property. Next is we need to figure out what the degree of wrong it really is. Also know that my local teams that I've worked with, they handle all of the, we like to call it the knick-knack stuff. My colleague Scott calls it the knick-knack stuff. I just took that term because I like it. So the knick-knack stuff is, like a loose light switch, or there's a missing light bulb in the track lighting, or something like a carbon monoxide detector. That is, that's important, but it's knick-knack. We go down to the hardware store, we buy one, we plug it in, and we're good. These are easy fixes. These are things that we can do together as real estate investors to maintain this deal. The whole point is to make sure that the deal is good for you, good for us, it's good for everyone all around. And just to set the table for you, this is exciting times. You're learning a new trade for a lot of you. Anybody who's experienced is still excited because that means you're just one more step closer to financial freedom. Financial freedom, again, is, having that passive income coming in for you. The other thing I like to bring up to folks is, remember, this may not be a property that you would live in. There's nothing wrong with the property, but it may not be something that you would look at for yourself. So what do I mean by that? I mean that some folks that I work with, myself included, I'm guilty, the standard that I would use for my personal residence is different than what I would use for an investment property. There's nothing wrong with that, but understanding that when you go into this, remember, this is not your personal residence. This is your investment property. So how do I determine if this is a good investment property? Well, first, the numbers. The numbers should be determining that. Is it cash flow positive? How is it cash flowing? What are the costs associated with this property? And how does that fit into your portfolio? Number one. Number two, analyzing the property itself. Are there going to be, big surprises? Well, if you did the inspection and you had the conversations, then you should already know everything you need to know about this property within reason. But we can mitigate against as much risk as possible through education. And that's what the inspection process is all about. The next step in the process is typically, your appraisal. So the lender is going to be ordering appraisal as well. We'll cover that in another video. But for now, I hope this education has been valuable to you. I thank you for your time today. And of course, if you have any questions about what we do here at Rent to Retirement, for anybody who's just seeing us for the first time, feel free to contact us. If you're one of our clients and you're going through an inspection right now, we're more than happy to work with you as well and answer any questions that you have. And for our potential or future investors out there, I'm excited for you. If you have questions about how Rent to Retirement can help you and help you achieve your goals and work with you through this process, feel free to contact us. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate everybody, and I hope to be working with you soon.